Welcome once again to Learn Math with me, Brian Sapinski, and what is now take 3 of this edition of Games by the Numbers. Why take 3, you ask? Well, if you watched the last video that we just uploaded a few days ago, where we officially started our own run of WWE 2K24's MyGM Mode, go watch it, by the way, after this is done. The link is in the description. You'll recall that I alluded to the fact that the video that you're watching right now began as a short, and then I had to change it to a long form because of the fact that some of the data that I collected in making the short was incorrect. But then, as I was editing that footage, what I then discovered was that that data was also wrong but somehow right at the same time? It's very confusing. Just watch this and you'll understand. Our story begins with the MyGM mode in WWE 2K23. Recall once again how I talked about the money glitch that appears in 2K22's GM mode. That glitch was fixed for 2K23, but there was another place where the math was sometimes misleading, and that's in how your total fans are calculated. You see here on the summary screen that the formula is somehow based on how many new fans you pick up that week, how many fans you had coming into the week, and the fan retention multiplier indicating what percentage of the fans you hold on to. The trouble is that no matter how I tried to calculate those numbers back in 2K22's GM mode, there was no way I could get the exact total that the summary screens were showing. Now, they streamlined this calculation process in 2K23, but there was a little bit of a quirk. The algorithm for 2K23 calculated your total fans after each week by adding your new fans to your total from the previous week, and then multiplying that sum by the fan retention rate, rounding down the decimal because, well, I'm sure Vince McMahon wouldn't have been against having a disembodied arm in a seat if it meant he could sell another ticket, but let's not think about that. Anyway, an important part to making this formula work is that the retention rate decimal was extended in 2K23 to 4 places. If you go back to 2K22's summary screen, there were only 2 decimal places, and if you used it as it read, it never gave you the exact figure. Furthermore, the exact decimal in 2K22 was always slightly different, as proven by the sample I took from various up, up, down, down videos from that season. This was fixed in 2K23 so that the decimal you see is the decimal you get. So where's the quirk, you ask? Well, you may have noticed on 2K23's summary screen that there was a new row called the Other Fans bonus. Now, this counted fans that you brought in from either running submission or backstage brawl matches, or from having certain shakeups, which earns you fan bonuses by meeting certain conditions on any given week. Now, all of those things were new to 2K23, but how they added those other fans into your total is where all the craziness begins, and the reason that I had to do this third take of this video. As shown in this sample from Andrea's GM run from last year, notice her total of 1,693,137 fans while she is booking her card. It includes a match which, with a level 4 rivalry, will net her an additional 5,000 fans. However, upon looking at her summary screen for the week, her fans from last week now says 1,698,137. It turns out that instead of adding the 5,000 fans from the submission match to her new fans, it added it to the previous week's total instead. Now, since the new and previous fans are added together before the fan retention multiplier is applied, you'll see here that it doesn't make a difference where those other fans were added. The final total is still the same. So no harm, no foul. The thing is, I never caught that during the entire time that we were playing 2K23 GM mode until I began shooting this video. And the crazy thing is, I thought that something else was happening in terms of how the numbers were calculated. And the thing I thought was happening then is actually happening now in 2K24. Here's what I mean. The formula now goes like this. Instead of adding the other fans bonus to your total before the retention multiplier is calculated, it now adds the bonus after the multiplication. It's calculated this way now thanks in part to a new power card called Bad Publicity, which steals a percentage of the fans that another brand gains that week. Although it's debatable whether this makes the change in the formula accurate to the details of the power card. For instance, here you could see that the 10% hit that Tyler Breeze took came exclusively from the new fans he brought in. But that amount doesn't get subtracted until the end of the formula, as we said before. But is that really how it should work? One would figure that the subtraction should come right off the top from the new fans like this, or that the 10% should be taken from the net change in fans at the end of the formula. How do you think it should work? Let me know in the comments. But as crazy as all that is, there was another glitch in the fan calculations in 2K23's GM mode, and I never noticed it until it happened to us. And when it did, I was crying foul in a major way. If we flash back to week 13 of season 1 on Up Up Down Down, Austin Creed is offered a movie deal for Becky Lynch. He accepted the deal, which gave him a ton of bonus revenue. The look on Tyler Breeze's face when he heard the figure was just classic, by the way. But what no one caught at the time was that after the week was over, Creed's total fans suddenly jumped from 1.91 million on the summary screen to 1.96 million on the leaderboard screen. And that sudden jump in 50,000 fans is not acknowledged anywhere. It's not listed as a bonus anywhere. There's nothing in the emails saying this will happen. You probably wouldn't even notice it if you don't keep track of the numbers like we do here. In our case, when we were playing through 2K23, Joey got the same movie deal and accepted it. At the end of that week, the summary screen showed these numbers for me and Joey, where it said that I was about 22,000 fans ahead. But then on the leaderboard screen, it showed this, and it suddenly said that I was about 28,000 fans behind him. And I was beside myself trying to figure out why that was the case. And then that's when I realized it was because of the movie deal. And that, along with a couple other things that were happening along the way, that 23 was saying that we did certain things when we didn't, or vice versa, it was enough for me to say, okay, the results are tainted here. We're done with 2K23. We're going on to 2K24. Now, we've only just started the game with that, as you saw in the other video. So I have no idea if this movie deal email from Triple H still exists. And I've watched a couple of GM runs on some other channels like Up, Up, Down, Down, of course. And I haven't seen anybody run into the movie email from Triple H just yet. So does it still exist? Don't know. If you know and you've run into it, please, by all means, leave a comment and tell us so. But if we run into it first, you know we're going to report on it because I keep everybody's information in the binders right here. So you know if we run into it, we'll be sure to talk about it right here in a future video. So be sure to come back for that. And please come back for our actual run of 2K24 in the weeks to come so you can see which of us brings our brand to the top. You know which one I'm going with. And of course, be sure to like this video, share, subscribe, do that for all of our videos, and hit that bell icon so you know when our next videos are coming. And if you want to hear about any other math shenanigans that me and the family are getting into, be sure to follow me on Twitter at the address shown on your screen. Until then, I'm Brian Sapinski, and happy gaming, everybody.